Maranatha, come and get me. Maranatha, come and get me. Maranatha, Maranatha, come and get me. All my people on the left, all my people on the right, from the front to the back, shout it out all night. Maranatha, come and get me. Maranatha, come and get me. Maranatha, come and get me. Take the sin about my life, yeah. K-Drama, thanks, show, for letting me get this track. I really admire the original, so hope this is alright, you know what I'm saying? But Maranatha, I really feel that topic because, you know what I'm saying, I thank God that Jesus came and got me out of the mess I was in, and is still working with me until his return, as the original implication in 1 Corinthians talks about. Holla.
Rio Hondo Prep football is one of the best kept secrets in all of Southern California. As one of the smallest enrollments year in and year out, the Cares have won 16 CIF championships and have been one of the most successful programs throughout their history. Welcome to A Charge to Keep, the official podcast of Rio Hondo Prep football. And now, bringing you the latest news and content from his alma mater, a CIF champion in 2001, from the class of 2003, here's your host, Matt Hersema.
What is up, Rio Hondo Prep football fans? Welcome to week 2 and the third game of the 2025 football season against a familiar foe, the Maranatha Minutemen from Pasadena, a rivalry that was renewed just last season after somewhat of a hiatus. Rio and the Minutemen played many times in the 11-man era and as well as the 8-man era way back when. So our friends to the, what would that be? The west, just to the west of us there in Pasadena, the rivalry on the gridiron will in fact be renewed. And I mentioned last year as this game got going that, you know, we had a losing streak really going up against the Maranatha Minutemen dating back to, I think, 09 or somewhere in there. But it had been over a decade since Rio Hondo and Maranatha have squared off. And last season's game, of course, we know how that went. Rio Hondo Prep took that one in really dominating fashion, 56-14, limiting Miles O'Malley to not too many yards on the ground there. The highly touted running back for the Minutemen, Luke McNulty, was their quarterback last season. A very talented young man who put up some numbers against Rio, but I think the Cares focused a lot on O'Malley, and McNulty did get some yards here and there, but overall it was a dominating win for the Rio Hondo Cares in that week. The week 2 matchup again last year, the third game of the season for both teams. Last year, both teams were 2-0. This year, both teams are 2-0. The Maranatha Minutemen have put up some big-time numbers, and we will get to those numbers and stats and storylines about the Maranatha Minutemen in the second half of our podcast today, as you are well aware, with our pregame show, kind of our routine of the week, the rhythm and routine of the week, as we bring on a guest to talk a little bit about Rio Hondo Prep football, usually some stuff from the past. A member of the alumni usually, although there are other guests we have on here, members of the media and things, but our pregame shows just kind of get us in the right frame of mind for the upcoming game, which is this Thursday night, by the way. That's why this podcast will in fact be airing on Tuesday evening. Again, 2 days before kickoff is kind of my goal here for the pregame shows. So you have that evening as well as the entire next day to tune in. And then if all else fails, you can listen on the way to the game during your commute or coming in from work or whatever you're doing. So pregame shows every week before the games. And of course, the postgame shows on either Saturday or Sunday accordingly, as long as we can get everyone dialed into the recording schedule and all that. So, but a very highly anticipated matchup once again this season. Coach Rand Holdren is the head coach of the Maranatha Minutemen. And if you haven't had a chance, or maybe you're curious about last season, go check out the interview I did with him on the pregame show last year. I think it's still relevant to learn a little bit about him and his program. would kind of be another good listen to, if you will, to again get to know about the great things he's doing over there. And I know he has nothing but respect for Rio Hondo, and Rio Hondo has nothing but respect for Coach Holdren. He has a former Boys Christian League, Carey Youth League guy, Mike Mitcher, on his staff as offensive line coach. Mike's son Dean played football at Rio Hondo Prep not too long ago as well. So this team, the Maranatha Minutemen, they do know Rio Hondo Prep well, not just from last season, but the history. And of course, they have been watching closely from not too far away for quite some time. So a fun rivalry that has seen some dominating wins on both sides of the aisle here. And I'm looking forward to going to the former Ambassador College campus there in Pasadena to take on the Maranatha Minutemen, a great venue, a fun venue. And I think Rio Hondo Prep will show out this Thursday night, as they often do. But the first road test for the Carriers, albeit, a short drive over there to Pasadena. But Thursday, that throws things off a little bit. And you know what? It is what it is. It's time to compete with the Maranatha Minutemen. I will have plenty to say about their record from last season, what they've done already this year. Kind of some little scouting, but just more reading some news and notes about them, just to kind of give you guys an idea of what we're up against on Thursday. And I will tell you that you better buckle up, because the Maranatha Minutemen have a quarterback probably better than McNulty last season, Cooper Berry, who is off to a hot start. And I'll give you all his numbers very, very soon. But from what I've seen, definitely the best quarterback Rio will have faced this season. So it's going to be an interesting night, we'll say, if the Carriers can respond and slow down that passing attack of Maranatha. But again, I'll talk to you about all of that in the second half of the podcast. First up, we're going to get to our guest this week. As you saw on social media, yesterday, that Kurt Coulter is coming on the show today. I recorded a conversation with him not too long ago. And Kurt was a tremendous football player. He played alongside my brother. He played in he graduated with my brother's Sam's class in 2006. I actually had the privilege of playing with Kurt on varsity as my senior year. Show you how good Kurt was. He was a freshman, came up, played defensive line, played tight end. He was up in front of me all the time as a linebacker. And of course, one of my favorite targets as a tight end. He was a sneaky guy, but big dude. We needed him. And we'll share some stories there about that first year playing together. And then most notably, Kurt was, I'll say the MVP. I think that he was one of the CIF top offensive players or defensive players of the year in 2005 as the Carriers raised their first championship in the 11-man era in 2005. Kurt was a force to be reckoned with. He was a wide receiver. He was a middle linebacker. And again, a unique position combo at Rio Hondo Prep. But just a dude that was tough as nails, was intense, was violent, would, as a teammate, he'd do whatever you asked. I mean, he was a guy that was fearless. And as Kurt went, the Rio Hondo Prep team went. And so he was a star his senior year, had a great junior season as well. But it was an honor to play with Kurt for just one season as he was a freshman, and just thinking, man, this guy's going to be really good. I hope he can do a lot this year for us, as I was a senior. So Kurt Coulter, again, an outstanding career at Rio Hondo Prep, went on, or currently does now, married and two kids, I believe. And he's doing great work in we'll say rehabilitation with people, those struggling with substance abuse or just different kinds of addiction. Kurt is a caseworker, and he helps people out actually in the Pasadena area. Is again with rehab of substance abuse, and just kind of getting through some tough times. So a guy that cares about other people. He cares about just seeing the best in people and just kind of perseverance. And I think you'll get that from this conversation with Kurt, that man, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And we all have our struggles or our moments in life where things go sideways on us. And I think Kurt's story here is something that you guys will all really, really enjoy hearing, because I know I walked away from it pretty much knowing Kurt well as a former teammate. Seeing him come out to some Rio games and chatting a little bit, catching up was fun. But just knowing his story and hearing what he's doing now, it's tremendous. And we talk about doing the Lord's work, right? Or, nurses and firefighters and all the things out there that make a difference. Well, I think something that, it kind of goes unseen really, and kind of the unsung heroes, if you will, are people like Kurt Coulter, who are helping others go through some very, very difficult things that on some subject matter that may be, I don't know, a little taboo or tough to deal with and may not be a topic of conversation for most of us. But I can honestly say that I think we all probably know someone, whether a family member or a friend or just a friend of a family member, whatever the case is, that has struggled and gone through this type of thing. And so I think Kurt's story and his pitch to people to help them, I think is if someone hears this today and is able to get help, well, I'll sleep well at night knowing that the podcast truly did make a difference. But Kurt will share again his time at Rio. He comes from the great Coulter family. His older brother Josh was an incredible football player at Rio. Now lives in Dallas, the Frisco area, I believe, out by Dallas. So I'm sure we will see him in a few weeks. Another brother, Chris Coulter, was I think 3 years older than me, a senior when I was a freshman. Chico, as he went by, a nickname for many, many years. So Chris was a great guy, and again, Kurt being that third brother, is in the Coulter family. I'm sure was tough at times, but he carried on the family legacy very, very well. He had a sister as well, Megan, who was 1 year above me. So that was kind of my interaction with the Coulter family was Megan, and then Kurt below me was kind of the most interaction with the family, we could say, but just an incredible family. And you see Mrs. Coulter there taking photos on the sidelines. That's Kurt's mom, alongside Mrs. Mosier and Tim Lunny and all the people just helping out. It's one big family, man. I'm telling you, for those of you that may not known the Coulters or whatever, this is an educational time to us to talk about those things. And before I bring up Kurt, I just want to say something about kind of the tie-in to Maranatha, and everything I do is for a reason, right? There's storylines here and there. Kurt does work in Pasadena. We're going to Pasadena, so I thought it was fitting. But I remember in 2005, again, they came off the 2004 runner-up finish with arguably, one of the best teams we ever had. Lost Landon Goodwell, lost that great class of 2005 in the 2004 football season. And the 2005 team was not supposed to do much. It was just like, well, they lost everyone. They had this great team. And this team shocked everybody, and they rallied. Will Tirico, who's a coach on this current football team, up in the press box, the eye in the sky. He was a quarterback on that team, senior leader. And those guys were not going to be told what they could not do. That year was a magical, magical run. They lost one game by 1 point to Arrowhead Christian at home. They went for 2 and lost and missed it at the very end of the game. And it was Lieutenant Bill Lee, who was the strength and conditioning coach on that team of the United States Marines, who really pushed those guys that next week and told them, last year's seniors aren't coming through the door anytime soon, and you guys are going to lose on Friday, because they were playing Maranatha, who was coming in at like 4-0 or 5-0 or whatever it was, flying high. And and the Cares are coming off a 1 point loss. And Bill Lee made it clear to those guys, to Kurt, to my brother Sam, to Will Tirico, to Bill Baumgartner, to Joe Padilla, to all those guys, Alex Gadula. I'm forgetting guys, but I'm just throwing out names here. He made it clear to those guys, you're going to lose if you don't push it, if you don't go harder, if you don't represent Rio football, and stop feeling sorry for yourself. Well, that Friday, it was really the news of the night in the area that Rio Hondo Prep destroyed Maranatha 50-0, and really shocked everyone. And that was an eye-opening moment for people to be like, whoa, Rio Hondo might be back from last year's great championship run. And they went on, didn't lose another game, and were victorious over the Campbell Hall Vikings 10-7 in the 2005 championship. I'm incredibly honored that my brother was on that team, and it was so fun to watch those guys overcome the odds. And it's kind of like sometimes the Rio Hondo story just never changes, and it definitely never gets old. I'll be back with more content on the Maranatha Minutemen, as well as a fun topic for the explanation point in the rules segment of the podcast to close things out. But first, it is now my privilege to bring on my former teammate, my friend, Kurt Coulter. All right, we are now joined by one of the best football players in RHP history, in my opinion, a former teammate of mine when he was a freshman and I was a senior. He comes from the great Coulter family that has put out some great football players at RHP. We're talking to none other than Kurt Coulter from the class of 2006, graduated with my brother Sam. And we're going to catch up today, talk some real football, talk about life, just have a little fun. Kurt, what's up, brother? Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Matt. How you doing, man?
Hey, I am fantastic. Anytime I get to talk to a Rio alum, specifically a teammate off the air, you and I were just reminiscing a little bit about some fun times, some crazy times, some rather hilarious moments as well. We'll get to all of it. But man, Kurt, just 2006, a long time ago since you and my brother's class have graduated. What have you been up to, man? It's been almost 20 years.
Oh man, I have a family now. I got two daughters. I got a 13-year-old. She's in Rio. She's an 8th grader, and I got Katie. She's now going in 3rd grade, and I get to suit up and show up for their Carry League activities and watch them go out there and play volleyball and play sports. And it's a huge blessing, man, to be able to watch your kids go out there and follow through the pathway that I went through. So it's one of the greatest joys of life, man. So.
Hey,
Really?
starting at Care yourself, going through the ranks all the way to the varsity football. It's got to be fun, kind of reliving it. You got an amazing family. Josh Coulter, your oldest brother, Chris Coulter, another brother, Megan Coulter, who's only 1 year above me. I don't know, man. The youngest of the Coulter family. That had to be maybe a little tough growing up.
Oh yeah, you bet it. I looked up to my oldest brother. I saw him out there on the football field. He was out there playing, and I remember after the games, they would always have wristbands on their hands. And as a kid, I would run out there and try to get those wristbands. And I remember having them stacked on my arms because I'd get like 2 or 3. And, it was just, we just lived and wanted to follow in their footsteps. And so watching my brother play 8-man, watching him go out on the football field definitely was a motivating factor for me. And I, growing up in the Carry League program, man, football is life, man. It feels like it was definitely a huge part of my life, and I loved every moment I was out on that field.
Yeah. I told your brother Josh this, that he was one of my favorite players growing up. Quarterback, lefty. He was just very athletic, way more than I ever was. But we just wanted to be those guys when we were kids. And Kurt is someone who's literally Rio Hondo Prep football was in your backyard, just on the other side of the fence there. I mean, just being a young kid, even before your brother. I mean, it had to be just cool seeing the lights and knowing, hey, Friday night it's Rio football time.
That's right. I remember traveling out to all my brother's games. They were out there. Some of the games were really far away, and I'll recall this one memory where I was probably in junior high, or maybe I was in elementary school, and we were playing tackle football. We go to the games and we play tackle football at the games. We get a couple kids together and we play without pads, and we would tackle. And I remember going up and I made this tackle. My pinky got caught in somebody's shirt, and it broke my pinky. I was way out, and I don't remember Trona. It was far. And I go to Mr. Walsh, and I go, "Hey, it's bent." He's like, "You're probably gonna need to go to the doctor." And that's the way we were raised, man. We would go out and we would go to these games, and I would get pulled out of school, but I would go and I was waiting for my moment to go out there. And I would be practicing and playing football. It was a blast, man. Those were the memories that I recall. So looking up to my brother, man, those were the times, man. That was really good times. And my mom brought me along every single trip. So
you gotta love it, man. Yeah, road trips. It was awesome. We still do it now, in the playoffs with the current teams. And it's a cycle, man. We all were those kids, and then we're in junior high. We're right on the doorstep of getting to varsity, and then you get into high school and you get to do it yourselves. And it's one thing that's really special about Rio Hondo Prep. And Kurt, you and I, as I mentioned, we have a little history. When I was a senior, we started the first year of 11-man football, and we didn't have that many guys. And honestly, early on, we started getting some guys hurt. Most notably, Devin Drain, who was a great player for us, and we lost him for the season early. But you came up. You were a larger than life guy back then, probably the same size you are now. And
Yes.
freshman Kurt Coulter, you're going to come up, play on the D line, and play varsity, man. And so, what are your memories of that first year playing varsity as a freshman, being teammates with me and my senior group?
Oh man, it was one of the most it was like a dream come true, man. You know, I never thought that opportunity would come, and it was like a God willing moment where I said, "Hey, you're gonna get that call up." And that first game, my heart was pounding, but I just went out there and I realized that I could play. And as the year went on, it was so much fun. And I realized that, hey, I prepared for this moment, and I was God given that opportunity. It was a rush, man, and I really look back at that being one of my core memories of being a freshman and being able to do that was all a dream come true. You dream about it throughout. You go and get these wristbands. You see your brother, and then boom, you get called up. I can't imagine a greater feeling as something that you'd want and dream about. And
Yeah.
for me, I just went out and played, man, and I just played the ball. That's all I
Well,
did.
we needed you, but for sure we needed every body we could at that moment because we're playing 11 man with like I don't know 18 or 19 juniors and seniors, and then the
Yeah.
sophomores. Yourself came up. You were talented though. You it wasn't any charity. We needed you. You played well. You lined up in front of me on defense, so we had a good time kind of shifting and eating up holes together. But then on offense, man, you played tight end. I remember I hit you with a few passes, a touchdown, I think, against Webb on homecoming. But the play I remember, you remember the Pauly catch? You caught it. You had like a 60-yard game. You didn't score though, bro. What happened on that
I
one?
know, I know. I recall I was so wide open when I caught that. It took me a while to process how wide open I was. Again, I was like, all right, my thought is catch this ball and do not drop it, right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing. Ball in hand, now what do I do? And I'll remember that moment because again, I'm a kid who wants to run over people. So I see a guy, I'm not juking him. I'm like, I'm gonna run you over. And I remember that mentality even as a freshman. I was running and I was so wide open. You would get the ball out to me and I didn't know. They must have forgot about to cover the tight end because I was so wide open, and those are some great times, man. That Pauly
Yeah.
game here was those plays that we drew up and the ways we would disguise things. I give it to the coaching staff for them to have those moments because it translated all the way to senior year when that championship game, and I was wide open again. But that year I was able to make it in for that
Ye-
championship game.
Yeah, man. The freshmen, we played at Doherty High. I mean, that's how crazy the program and the ride has been. We were playing home games at Doherty High then because we didn't have a home field yet. The field wasn't big enough. That was the first time we played Pauly in like 7, 8 years, whatever it was, because we were 8 man forever, and we beat them. And unfortunately, I'm still bitter about it. Pauly won the championship that year after we beat him in the regular season. They beat a team, Grace Brethren, that beat us in the playoffs. So who knows? I thought that first year there was so many questions about 11 man. Can we compete at this level? And
Yeah.
that's what I will always take from it. It was kind of like, oh no, no, not only can we compete, but we can compete with the best.
Ooh.
And as the next few years went by, Kurt, you and your class found out just how successful you could be. You mentioned the game your junior year. You go all the way to the championship. You lose that one, and you go into your senior season. And honestly, if we're all honest, we looked at that as kind of like, oh man, last year was our best chance to win the championship in '04. Landon Goodwell, Dan Pastor, AJ Corsini, all those guys
Yeah.
were so good. And alongside you guys. But I mean, what do you remember about going into your senior season after losing the championship in 2004?
Well, we that was a devastating loss for sure. I do recall that losing that was like you said the best team that we felt we've ever had. We were losing some core seniors, and we were going into, and then the talk around was they're not even going to make the playoffs, and that was the talk of what outside of our team what we were hearing, and you know what we were blessed. We got to go to Europe that year, and when we went to Europe, I said we grew closer as a team and we were working out in Europe. We were in Dubrovnik. We were in Ireland. We were running, doing laps. We were preparing for this next season. And I would tell you that the camaraderie and how close we came as a team was a direct result from that trip and how close we kind of came together. I remember just working out that year. We got back and we really worked hard, man. We were in the wash. I was throwing up. We really left all out on the field. And that day came and all the chatter and everything, but we just went out there and played,
Yeah.
and it just kind of lined up. And man, that was a great year.
It was a crazy year. An incredible group of seniors. As I mentioned, my brother Sam Hurst, an offensive line on that team. Dave Guerrero, Alex Gadula, Bill Baumgartner running the rock. I mean, a very underrated running back, in my opinion, at Rio Hondo Prep. Joe Padilla, slasher, kind of did it all. Will Tirico, who's a current coach for this team at the varsity level, quarterback leading the way for you guys. It was in the, not to spoil anything, but in the championship game against Campbell Hall. You had a touchdown catch from Will Tirico, the first Kurt Coulter, the first 11-man touchdown in an 11-man championship game in Rio Hondo history. I don't know if you ever thought about that, but that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that is definitely. And I'll tell you a little bit about that play, because that play was drawn up very early in the playoffs, and we hadn't run it, right? We never passed off that formation. We were like holding it and waiting it for the right moment, and that moment was right there, and I was wide open. And I remember the coaching staff saying, like, we had used other trick plays and to get to that point, but we never thrown off of that. And I would always motion, but they would never hand it off to me. The one time they did. And I could see, like, you could see the green grass. You saw it, and I recall this time I dodged that guy and got in the end zone, and that was definitely, I give that to the coaching staff.
Yeah, well, and another reason I wanted to have you on, Kurt, and some other guys is from your class, notably, is 2005, 20 years ago. The first 11-man championship in Rio history, and we're not doing any big ceremony or anything, but I just want people to understand how special that year was. Coming off, arguably, I would throw it out there, the greatest non-championship team we've ever had in 04. Freddie Monteblanco comes to mind as well. Andrew Garcia, some of these incredible players from that class. You guys go into 05, and it's kind of like, all right, well, you talked about the bond. You guys believe, but I think there were skeptics everywhere else. But one major factor of that team also was Major Bill Lee of the United States Marine Corps, who was pushing you guys to be the very best you could be. And I think he was a big factor to that championship as well.
Yes, I would agree with you on that, because he would take us to the wash area. We'd be running up, running back and forth, and he was working us like we were Marines. And I recall thinking, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it through two days. And he pushed us so hard, I was throwing up. And I recall we were looking around, but that was a determining factor, because we had a bunch of two-way players. And I think this defines Rio football, is the culture is we are able to outlast teams. Yeah. Physically, mentally, in all those areas, because of the type of training and effort that we put in to preparing for each season. And that was evident that year. We were able to outlast teams bigger, faster, stronger. It didn't matter. We played tough football, and that was the culture I think that Mr. Lee brought to us early. And it was a big change in the pace, because, like I said, I played with you, and the moment he came up and started working out with us, you could tell he was a major part of that win. Definitely.
Yeah, that 05 team, you lost one game by 1 point to Arrowhead Christian. You guys went for two at the end. You didn't get it. And it was at that point where I think Mr. Lee, Bill Lee, really amped it up for you guys, and you guys dominated Maranatha. You ran all the way through. You won the prep league, of course. Some pretty tough playoff games, but the championship game against Campbell Hall. Ironically, you may not know this, that's the first time Rio Hondo Prep ever played an 11-man game was against Campbell Hall at Birmingham High School. So it was kind of poetic that the first championship game win was there. It wasn't. It was a slugfest. You guys had great defense. You scored the only touchdown for Rio. We ended up winning the game 10-7. But I believe you guys had 5 takeaways on defense in that game, which was huge. Just what do you remember overall about that night and bringing Rio's first 11-man championship?
I remember it was an all-around team effort. Like you said, those takeaways. That was an interception by Nick Gonzalez. I recall that one. I recall there was another interception, I believe was by Joe Padilla. If I can recall right, those interceptions were game changing. They were about to score, and boom, we get a turnover. I recall Mr. Ixta and Sammy, they were getting after the quarterback, and they
Vice
were
Principal Ixta. That's right. Vice Principal Ixta was on that team as a sophomore. Yeah.
And I recall those guys stepping up and for that moment, right? And it's an all around team effort. There's no one guy out there that it's a full on team effort, and that game, it was very close, and it was but I could see our defense and our discipline and our coaching staff showed
Yeah.
up. That's
Well, talk to me. Talk to me about that, Kurt. The coaches. Mr. Drain was a head coach back then. Mark Carson was a defensive coordinator. Joe Parker was calling the plays on offense. I mean, what do you remember about those guys and playing for them? You've given them a lot of credit already, but just if you could go into any specifics of how they made you guys better and put you in great positions that year.
Well, I would say that they always put us in great positions, and they always encouraged us, and they always worked on technique. Hey, you need to break down. You got to break down before you make that tackle. And I could hear Mark Carson yelling, on the sidelines, Kurt, you got to break down. Like I can hear those moments, right? Technique. I would always get to the ball, but I think it was in practice, making sure we run the plays right, and making sure that we were setting up for the future, right? There was a future plays, and that just tells how the coaching staff prepares. Is they have a playbook, and we're not running every play, but we're setting up for other plays, and it just showed that we were just on another level of football, and that comes with the experience and the tradition, like Rio. I mean,
Oh,
it's such a cool thing to say. I'm a part of that,
well, and another crazy thing that senior year for you, Kurt, is you were someone that switched positions on both sides of the ball. I remember you as a tight end, a defensive end. We go into your senior year, and Mark Carson says he's going to play middle linebacker. And then on offense, they said, well, John Collins is a pretty good tight end. Let's put Kurt at wide receiver. So a unique combo there, wide receiver and middle linebacker. But you really seemed to excel. What did you think about the position change? It seemed like you had just as much success.
It was in that time frame. The mentality is, coach, wherever you want me, I'm going. Whether I thought whatever I thought, it was, you know what? I believe in this. I believe in the coaching staff. I believe in my teammates, and it's about just going out there and doing wherever I'm needed, right? And at wide receiver, it was go deep, catch these passes. It was do these fade patterns, and I recall some of those moments on offense and blocking. Like putting me in positions to block, and whatever the team needed, I said I'm up for it. I'll do it. You need me to block, I'll get whoever in the end zone. Just follow me, right? That's our mentality and what we do. On the defensive end, playing middle linebacker I loved it, man. That was some of the best times as a running quarterback for me, and I get to spy on him, and I get to meet him right at the line of scrimmage. And he's like, where does this guy come from? And I can just picture the videos, and one hit, and then the rest of the team comes like we're feasting on dinner. It was just it was just group tackles, and just I can see Mr. Carson being in the film room, like, that's how you guys do it. That's the mentality. And I loved it, man. We would just get up and get fired up. And
dude,
one of the bigger things that I saw and I see today in this culture is the sportsmanship and how we leave it on the field, and how we are, we're there, we're in the game, and we're fired up, but we're always respectful, always being good sportsmanships. And I think that's a testament to what the coaching staff, and then the culture that we teach at Rio. So,
man, I am thrilled to hear you say that, because it is this we not me mentality. It's again playing hard, playing ferocious, but at the same time respecting your opponent. And this is always what we're preaching to the boys as well. Is like, this stuff has lasted for decades, and there's a reason the program has been successful. It's the manner in which you play the game. So it's fun to hear that from someone such as yourself, who was balling out 20 years ago. Kurt, was it you in your junior year when you played Linfield, the big Linfield Christian game, the semifinal, right? Was it you on the opening kickoff who, he's okay now, but you put a dude literally in the hospital, right? Remember we had the ambulance there on the opening kickoff?
Yes, I do recall that. And those were the kickoffs where you run down and I remember that guy, and somebody stood him up, and I laid him out, and it was a free shot. And I
clean play,
total
clean play.
Totally clean. It was just, he laid him up. I mean, we got a free shot. Those were, you get fired up, but I do recall those, and then we had to go. When that happens, you try to do you try to respect the game and respect everybody, and you hope nobody gets hurt, and he was fine. He was.
Yeah, no, he was. I talked to his coach, the guy who was head coach of that team, last year I think it was, and he remembers that play and just how intense that game started. But yeah, just memories that are popping into my head all the time about the good old days. As a matter of fact, let's have a little fun right now, Kurt. You and I joked about this off the air, and I actually found the clip. So
Okay.
we're gonna have some fun right now.
Okay.
So it was back in 2001.
Okay.
The CIF Championship at Carefield, the final 8-man game in Rio history. And I could see you there on this. Let me see. Can I make this a little bigger? Maybe. Final championship. Oh, not the final 8-man championship. And you were in 8th grade. I was a junior.
Yes.
You were still one of the bigger guys on the sideline, but you happened to be a water boy that night. And kind of a funny play here. I can't get this to. Got the sound there. Maybe this will go full screen. If not, no big deal. I think we have enough here. But yeah, you got me, Kurt. You could see it, right?
Yeah, I can see it. I got you.
Okay, so this was as fans are looking at here on YouTube and Rumble. We had just scored to tie. I think Joshua Springs early in the first quarter. I actually jumped on a couple of fumbles in this game, but Mike Lau on this kickoff lays out their running back. I jump on the ball. We get the ball. We're pretty fired up in this moment of the game. And I'm on the far left of your screen here coming in. And something kind of funny unfolds that I'll let you guys observe here. But here's the kickoff. I'm not in the picture. Far left, I end up jumping on the fumble and going a little wild here. So jumping on the ball, full of emotion. We just got the ball. I'm jumping. I'm fired up. Yeah. Yeah. And then, out of nowhere, our water boy takes me out. Our water boy, Kurt Coulter.
So,
what are you doing, Kurt? You're taking my big moment from me.
What was I doing? I was trying to deliver the ball, right? As a water boy, we got to get that ball in, and we collided. I recall the mission being get the ball to the ref.
Yes. Here's the again. Mike Lau, just full speed, bang. Big collision right in front of them. I remember it was the best feeling in the world jumping on that football, and I was losing my mind a little bit, getting a little crazy. And I'm going over to get the offensive play for Mr. Drain, and you come out of nowhere, man. That's an illegal block in today's game.
I was going straight to the ball, man. I got to get the ball, and it was a funny moment. Look at that.
I see you at the last minute, and we watched this replay when we were after the championship post-game celebration, everything, and we were watching it at the Almasea's house, and everyone was laughing so hard when the 8th grade water boy took out Hershima after the big.
That was
I can't get enough of that.
That was so funny, and I only remembered it because you brought it up to me after that event, right? I did not remember this event, and I was like, "Oh man, I was in the wrong place, wrong time. My bad, my bad, QB. My bad. I was just trying to get that ball there, but wow, look at that. Oh."
I tended to overreact at times, but anyway, we went on to yeah, there's some Landon Goodwill as a freshman footage here, by the way.
Oh,
good stuff, man. You remember that game, Kurt, and how exciting and crazy that was? You had a front row seat to it.
I was, and I looked up to those moments, right? I got to see Landon Goodwill go out there as a freshman. I was there. I was on the sidelines, and how intense that game was. And all I can imagine is my moment right out there. I was like thinking, man, this is what Rio football is about, and showing up and watching Landon go out there and ball, watching everyone go out there and ball, and leave it all out on the field. I said, man, I can't wait for my moment, right? There's a good Landon touchdown right there as a freshman. I think it was when we took the lead here, but man, there's a little power toss, like kind of some of the stuff still going on these days. I don't know. That's a good quarterback hustle out there. I'm just saying, a great lead block by Victor Almaseas too. So good stuff. Fun going down memory lane. One more time from Goodwill. Yes,
we got out there. Chris Ramirez pulling too. Right in front of our fans there who were tailgating. Man, just a great night. A 34-28 victory in overtime to close out the 8-man era. And Kurt Coulter, MVP water boy that night as an 8th grade. Although you probably could have played with us that night, actually, Kurt.
Oh, that would have been a dream come true, man. But to watch you guys go out there, that's what fired me up, right? To see that real football and to say, I want that. And that's what I followed in the footsteps of the guys who came before me. And that's how we played, with the same mentality you guys did, and you guys paved the way for us, right? And we
Yeah.
just follow in those footsteps, and that's the Rio tradition, man. That's the
Oh,
Rio, what I see, and I see to this day. I see that when I get to go out there, and I know you get front row seats every game you're there. You get to see the culture. You get some one-on-ones with some of these guys, and I do see them as out there just leaving it all out there, and it's proud, man. I have moments when I'm out there watching Rio games today, and I'm that Santa Monica game that I went to, that championship Santa Monica game. I was emotional for me to watch that, because I could see how that game ended, and I just brought up all the feelings and emotions from my year. And to watch Rio do that, and that, I said, their championship was legendary, right? I would say the win against the in the state championship last year, and that game last year at that state championship finals was real football.
that
And
was so good.
there was no, but I was so proud after that game, despite how it went. And I thought that that's the most real way to do it, right? And I recall
Oh,
I recall when we were ACA, we were playing them, that our only loss that year, and Mr. Jane goes, "Well, should we go for two?" And we're like, "Yeah, man, we're not playing for no tie." And we went for two, and we didn't get it, you know. And for them to go for two right there, I think you go out that way, you do it, and I think you hold your heads high, you know. To me, the inches or whatever it was real football, and it's something to celebrate. And I mean, I couldn't have been more proud for that group of guys. And that group of guys reminded so much about my year, and I could see it on the field. The year prior, they had a Division One, that they moved on, went to Cal, and then this year, and they just showed up, and they went out there, and I think that embodies real football. Just go
mm.
out there, and I'm excited for what has to come. You know, my daughter's in eighth grade, and there's going to be a lot more football games to attend, and I get to be there and watch them, and see how this stuff goes. And each year, man, I've been shocked, man, just by how much. I mean, my year, we wouldn't think that we could play a team like Arcadia. You know, we wouldn't have even thought we would compete. To this year, it would be no problem, right?
Let's go.
This culture, this mentality, right? It's just a different game. We've seen it evolve to what it is today, and to be a part of that is huge, man. You know?
What I have what's been really fun the past few years is these guys have gotten opportunities to take on some of the schools that we had always wished for. Maybe we don't beat some of these schools, but back in our day or whatever, but it's just like, we just want a shot. Give us one chance. And so for these guys to be able to go a few years ago, take on Charter Oak and beat them, to take on, Arroyo even a few years before that and beat them, Arcadia 2012. I mean, these are big moments that for us alumni over the years, it was just like, man, we would love a shot at those guys. And so
Yeah.
to watch the current team the past few years, even to go and ball out and play against Santa Monica, Orange, Warren High School. I mean, are you kidding me? This is like, it's the same program, it's the same philosophies and everything. But these guys, I don't know, Kurt. To me, they seem like they've taken Rio Hondo Prep to another level.
Yeah.
Even with the great history and everything.
Oh man, it's so amazing to watch that, to see them go out there and do that, and I get to watch from the sidelines, and I'm just proud, man. I think it's embodies what it is to be a part of it, and having gone through that culture, and for them to carry it on and excel, it's like something that you're a part of, and you get to be proud, and you get to see it. And man, these guys are straight athletes, man. They go out there and ball, and with the same mentality that we did. And that's where you look and you're like, man, this is
Yeah.
this is where they and it seems like every year they're excelling, right? They're doing more, they're getting further. And it's just I give the credit to God, and I give it to this program and this coaching staff. That's Mark.
Mhm.
That's Mark building this culture, and we all remember when Mr. Jane was doing it and he was our coach, but Mark has taken this program to the next level, and he's done that through the efforts and everything he's put into this. So big credit to you, Mark.
Yeah. Yeah, he's our guy, that's for sure. Kurt, I want to talk about just maybe some life outside of football. And you are doing some great work now, that you've been doing as far as your career and everything. I think we all learn at Rio Hondo to go out into the world and to be leaders in some form, a service, a life of service, whether it's be
Sure.
volunteering, doing something, or your actual passion and work. So if you could, let's talk about what you've been doing, something you're passionate about, something that a line of work that it is necessary and probably not easy, but something that you really are helping people out who are definitely in need.
So, so throughout my life after Rio, there was a thing that I had struggled with, which was I had struggled with substance use. I had gone to a residential treatment center, and God willing, that treatment center was able to give me a pathway to not only recover from myself, but give me an opportunity to give that back. And for the past 9 years, I worked at a treatment center, and this is where I say I found my calling in life, which is to help others who suffer from substance abuse. And for me, there's no greater gift. It's been a blessing to give back what was given to me, and to have the life I have today. It wouldn't be without the program, the 12 steps, and the community that I'm involved in, that supports me in that. And all I do in return is I feel like my calling in life is to give that back. And there's no greater feeling when you see somebody go through treatment and that light comes on and they're like, man, I want to change my life. And it's a tough job. It has its moments, but I think that it's a testament that we all struggle at times, and it's okay to struggle. It's about how you recover and what
Mm.
you're doing to get back on track and to work on yourselves. And for me, it was a story that I went through that today has made me stronger, and it's a huge part of my life. Today I'm just blessed to be able to do what I do, and I love every moment of it. The moments that I get and the gratitude that I get from people that I've worked with is just the joy of working. And I think it stems a lot from the culture that Rio and Care taught us, and that was to be a service to others. And it was a core value that was instilled in us, and now I found a way to really just use it for the work in God. And I look at my journey to today, and it was God's will, and
Mm.
I truly believe that. So for me to just be that, it's truly something I'm really passionate about, and I find a lot of happiness and joy from that. So
Well, I appreciate being open and willing to talk about that, because it's not as an easy subject, I'm sure, and there's been a lot of lessons learned. I have heard that the 12 the very 12-step programs. I heard that a lot of it's almost like a spirit. It's almost like a spiritual. Um, I don't know how to spiritual teaching, in a sense of just kind of, you could almost eliminate it being a 12-step program, and kind of the wisdom that you gain from the 12-step program is almost like a spiritual journey in itself as well.
oh, the 12 steps and the program is a connection with God, right? It's
Mm.
to have this belief. And really, the 12-step program it's inclusive towards everyone, but for us who are raised, Christian, and we believe in God, it's just a belief in God. It's really just turning things over to Him, and allowing Him to work in your life for the greater good, right? And that means that things are going to happen for a reason.
Yeah.
That means that everything happens the way it should, and He's in control. And it's the foundation of faith. And the faith is that He's got your back. And that's what I think when we work on the 12 steps is we build that relationship with God, and we start to work on take accountability for some of our faults, some of our, character defects, and be more self-aware of us to grow. And that's what the 12 steps really embody now. Now, that's where I think God is essential, because we have to turn to Him to ask Him
Hmm.
for, to remove these things, right? And the program itself is the community is what I think makes us stronger, because we're a community of people that want the same thing, and we're a community of people that will reach out to help one another. Just like we'd
Yeah.
help each other out on the football field, we're a brotherhood. Well, in that community, we help one another. And I think we translate that same care mentality, that same football mentality, we translate that into our community, which we translate to helping others. So it's a
Well,
big thing.
it seems like kind of the first step in the maybe not of the 12 steps, but just an important factor of recovery is acknowledging an issue, and then also this the accountability factor that this is no one else's fault except personal responsibility. It's kind of what it sounds like from what I've heard and some of what you summed up here. As far as your passion for this and the ability to take charge of what is it's great work you're doing. It's probably not the easiest and always the most pleasant. Do you feel that some of your training and leadership and kind of helping others at Rio Hondo really kind of helped pave the way for you to get into this line of work?
Yeah, I would say that it's been a huge part of it, and me just going back to my roots and just being what, in that in Rio and Care, they instill these standards within us. And for me, I thrive in that environment because I could be compassionate and caring and loving and to others, right? And despite what they've been through, I think compassion is a big part of the recovery community. We have to have compassion for each other, despite everything that somebody's been through. Compassion is key. So I think that the community has really instilled this, and I just give the credit to God who has prepared me for this moment. Right, it wasn't a linear straight path here. It was a rocky road to get to here, but to get to here was what was due to him saying you're going to go down this pathway, and this is how you're going to find your calling in life. And that's not always how we always think it's got to be straight line, and so maybe sometimes in life it is, but sometimes it's not. And I think we got to understand we all have rocky times and moments that we go through, and we have to get back on track and build that connection with God. So it doesn't matter how we get there, it's the fact that we get there. And it's such a big part of our journey in life. And just to know that, I think gives us peace in knowing that, you know what, despite it being rocky right now, faith is what you got to have. And then you got to have faith that it's going to be all right. And that's what the belief and connection with God.
Kurt, I think this episode might end up being one of the the most important ones we've done. We'll do during the season. Some great information there. If you could, is there any information you could provide? Maybe someone out there is listening who knows of a family member who needs help, or maybe they themselves, behind the scenes are going through a tough time. How can they reach out? Is there a website? Is there a number, a place to contact? Maybe in the line of work that you're doing.
Yeah, so first and foremost, you can contact me, and I can get you to these 12-step meetings, whatever you need. I'd be willing to help at any moment. You just give me a call, and I can put my telephone number on this podcast for anybody who would want to reach out or just want to talk. Yeah. I'm here to help, again, my number is 626 644 7877. If you need to talk, you can call me. Also, there are 12-step meetings for everything in life that needs support, and we can discuss and see what we could do. There's also websites you can go on to for AA meetings. You go to AA, search for a meeting. You can go to a meeting. You can go to NA meetings. There's Narcotics Anonymous meetings. Those are two of the main meetings that we in our recovery center refer these patients to, and that's where you get the community. So if you need help getting there, I can get you there, and I could expose you to this community. And if you need help getting there, I can also do that, or I can direct you to somebody that can. So.
Well, God bless you, Kurt. Seriously, brother, that is literally doing the Lord's work, and just incredible stuff. I've known friends and family who've struggled with these things. And so I'm sure everyone knows someone who, especially at today's age. And there you go, Kurt Coulter, Mr. Intense, crazy, scary linebacker who would take your head off literally, but willing to help those, and just a kind-hearted young man, Kurt. Two different hats you've worn, right, in life.
Right. You wouldn't think that on the football field, but hey. This is the journey of life, and I feel like God has led me to this moment. So it's a great opportunity just to
Wow.
come out and just I guess people wouldn't know unless they asked or we spoke, and this podcast is a great opportunity to be that. So
I'm
thank you for this
yeah, thank
opportunity.
you, Kurt. This is the opportunity is the pleasure's all mine. Yeah, we love talking football, but there are some bigger things out there too. So, Kurt, as we wrap it up, I want to know from you, man. Just you've kind of touched on it a lot, but I just want you to say what you got to say about just Rio Hondo Prep football in general. You graduated 20 years ago or whatever it was, 20 years ago from playing football, 21 years ago with your class and everything, but. Yeah, man, Rio Hondo Prep football. Why is it so special? Why does it continue to be an important factor in your life among the other many busy things you're doing?
I would say the brotherhood that you get and the memories that you're gonna get along this way, that friendships that we had and how close of a group we became, the memories of each time we won and the music that we play in the locker room, those are things that you're always gonna remember, right? And I think it's a period in your life where it starts and it ends, and you soak in those memories because there's going to come a day when you don't get to play football anymore, right? And and we all look back, and I was able to have the memories that I had, and that's all I have today, and I get to reflect back, come on this podcast and reminisce of the good old days, and I never imagined I would get this opportunity to do it, and it's been just an amazing time. So I think for those guys who are there, you guys just keep living the dreams, and it's definitely something you'll always remember, and you'll remember the brotherhood. So
Yes, I remember it well, and only a brief time with you, my friend. But I would give anything to break the huddle and tell Kurt, "Hey, Kurt, you're lining up here," or "Hey, Kurt, make sure you run this route," or whatever. And you go,
right.
just yeah. After you had run me over as an eighth grader the year prior,
Yeah.
man. Some really fun memories and some great topic of conversation today, Kurt. I appreciate it. I'll be seeing you at Rio Games in the fall, bro. I can't wait. It's 2025 is here. It's time to get after it.
Sounds good. I look forward to it. I'll see you
See,
on the field.
see you
It's a
soon,
wrap.
Kurt.
All
Later,
right.
brother.
Take care. All right. Love you too.
Well, I just want to say a huge thank you to Kurt Coulter on sharing some incredible memories, but also some important um, topics discussion there here on the Charge to Keep podcast. Again, I find myself always blessed in hearing from our guests. Again, sometimes I just turn the mic on, and that's really my only talent is just, hey, look, listen, everybody, to what's going on. So, to my friend, my old teammate, man, great stuff. That was a fantastic conversation, and I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did because I get thanked all the time about this. Again, as I often say, but getting to talk with these people, it uplifts me in more ways than you know. So hopefully we learned something there, not only about Rio football, but some maybe some uncomfortable conversations that I think need to be heard. And so God bless you, Kurt. Once again, brother, it was great to hear from you and all you're doing. Your beautiful family. I think he's doing great things, and just couldn't be more proud of him. And so. Yeah, a fun conversation. I hope you each enjoyed there. As we get ready for the game this Thursday now, let's take a look at the Maranatha Minutemen. First off, just kind of the name Maranatha, as you heard there, kind of in the intro. Hopefully, got you a little fired up as well. Maranatha is actually an Aramaic word that means the Lord is coming, or come, O Lord. It kind of with early believers, I guess, is what it stems from, and it kind of replaced, in a sense, the Jewish term. Shalom, I guess, and I was trying to look up in the Bible where it was maybe mentioned. I got 1 Corinthians 16:22. If anyone does not love the Lord, let him be accursed. Our Lord come. So it kind of stems from that verse and kind of the background there. I thought that would kind of be fun to share. So definitely check out what the word Maranatha means on your own time as well. But that's who we're playing Thursday, of course, the Maranatha Minutemen. I love the mascot Minutemen, obviously being the patriotic guy myself with the the Revolutionary War and everything. I used to work at Minuteman Transport Trucking Company there in the City of Industry, which ironically I work in now as a FedEx driver and actually deliver to that business occasionally, run by a Rio grad football legend, Peter Amundsen. from the class of 77, I believe. So he was a heck of a football player too. But anyway, just a lot of randomness there that I'm throwing at you guys here on the week 2 pregame show. But the Maranatha Minutemen last season, as you are aware, as I mentioned earlier, they were 2-0 coming to Irwindale and Care Park last year. We beat them up 56-14, and it really wasn't that close, if you know what I mean. Rio really with their most dominant performance of the year up to that time, with the big win over Maranatha, who had beaten Lakeside earlier in the year. They had beaten Fullerton, which is a traditional, pretty good team traditionally, earlier in the year, and Rio kind of punched Maranatha in the mouth, and they didn't really recover from that. I think they had a rough season the rest of the way, went 4-6 overall, 1-4 in the Mesquite League for 5th place, and did not make the playoffs last year. But I know that Rand Holdren and his staff knows how to turn things around quickly, and he will have these guys ready to go here in the 2025 campaign. They are already off to a very, very hot start. They are 2-0 with wins over Arroyo and Artesia High School. They won at Arroyo, right around the corner from Rio Hondo Prep in week 0, 34-14. And they defeated Artesia High School at home last week, 49-7. So both of those scores kind of eye-opening in a sense that Maranatha is not only putting up points, but they are running away with some of these games. Earlier in the year, last year, the 2 wins, they had been scoring in the 30s or so, but the games were a lot closer. So I don't know if that means the defense is a lot better, or maybe they're just holding on to the ball longer. Who knows? But it seems like they can score at will with their quarterback, Cooper Berry. And I want to talk about him briefly right now. He was actually the 210 Prep Sports Co-Player of the Week from his performance last week against the Artesia High School, I should say. As our good friend Brian Reed Biotto, who runs 210 Prep Sports, writes a lot of great articles about the cares. And he had this to say about Cooper Berry, wears number 13 for the Maranatha Minutemen. He had last night, let's see, I'm going to talk about his stats from last week, and then we'll go to the total stats for the year. But last week, he was 22 of 25 for 420 yards at 6 touchdown passes, no interceptions, twice as many touchdown passes as incompletion. So that's kind of some scary numbers there. It means he's efficient. He hits his targets, and with all the yards in there, I don't think we're looking at short yardage pass attempts here. I think we're looking at big-time plays. His top target, Nico Vergara, who wears number 14, he had 3 of those touchdowns last week for 11, 20, and 25 yards. So let's see. There were 3 other touchdowns, 65 and a 55-yard scoring strikes to George Pamilton, as well as an 11-yard touchdown pass to Bradley. I won't even try to say this one. Loicono, it looks like. But let's see. George Pamilton looks to be their deep threat. He had a couple of deep balls there. Let's just look real quick at who Mr. Pamilton is, just so we kind of know his number. As Vergara, as I mentioned, number 14. Okay, George Pamilton, number 18. So kind of their deep threat here with 65 and 55-yard touchdown passes last week. So you better keep him in front of you, Rio Hondo secondary, or you will definitely get burned. I looked at a little bit of the game film on Maranatha from last week, and some very nice designs offensively. You're looking obviously at a spread attack, 4 and 5 wide receivers, which I like in a sense that if Maranatha tries to run the ball, I like our front 3 against just 5, or maybe we bring we bring a lot of blitzes, of course, and that's, I'm not ruining any game plans or anything. We typically have a 3-down lineman front, and we usually bring someone, or we try to attack it with our 3 guys. But I think the 3 guys we do have up front, Gavia, Shine, leading the way, I think they will get to this quarterback, and what we have to do is put pressure on him early. Maybe knock him off his rhythm, even if we make him move a little bit. And when he does move, we got to really keep him inside that pocket so that, the receivers, in jailbreak situations where receivers are breaking free after our secondary has kind of bottled them up in their early routes. So we got to get a pass rush on Mr. Berry. I look at Gavia Shine here. I think we might look at some unsung heroes. Who knows if Coach Carson maybe throws some speedsters on the pass rush just to kind of get to the quarterback quicker. Sometimes that throws things off. We saw Braden Vinton last week get some action and do pretty well. So again, I think the coaching staff we'll have a good game plan here, and again, you got to find a way to make this offensive attack that is all about rhythm and doing things on time. You got to get them off their routes, off their spots, and break that rhythm up however you can. We saw an incredible quarterback last year at Vanden in the state championship game, and so you kind of understand that with those guys who throw a lot, throw often, and they don't miss a whole lot. You got to knock them off their spots. So I will say here with Mr. Barry on the season now has, and if you look at this, 40 of 52 for 654 yards, 9 touchdown passes, only 1 interception. So he doesn't make mistakes. And again, that could all change based off the pass rush, based off of the coverage, and maybe disguising things, schemes and things. I'm confident in Coach Carson and the defensive staff that they will have a good game plan here. And I can promise you this, if we can at least double that interception total that he currently has, getting 1, maybe we got 2 last week, right, from Tyler Dang and Kalojiro Chico. I would love to see multiple sacks in this game. If we can get 3, I'm going to throw out a number. If we can get 3 sacks and 2 interceptions in this game, I think we can win I think we'll win the football game. I haven't even talked about us offensively yet or Maranatha defensively, but I think just going into the game, that's kind of at the top of my head. 3 sacks, 2 interceptions. I think Rio is going to be successful because, again, that should take into consideration everything else that is going on. So Cooper Berry, stud quarterback, only a junior, and has had a great season. So a very, very tough opponent that Rio, if they don't get to him or if they let guys behind him, he will burn you because he's that good. So just keep in mind, we're up for a real tall task here this coming week. And I want to say something that, again, this is from Brian Reed Bioto from 210 Prep Sports, quoting Rand Holdren, his head coach, on Cooper Berry. Quote, going into the season, Cooper was a bit of a wild card. He didn't have a lot of experience, but I knew he had the capability and work ethic to step in and fill the hole. He has not only filled it, but he is excelling at it. He has shown tremendous poise under pressure as he has dealt with numerous blitz packages already in the first 2 weeks. Working with him during games to problem solve has been smooth, productive, and appreciated. I have been blessed with good quarterbacks in my time at Maranatha with Michael Martin, who went on to play at Valparaiso, and Luke McNulty last year, who went on to play at UNC Charlotte. But Cooper's trajectory is currently at a faster pace. No doubt Cooper will be playing on Saturdays, but until then, we will continue to grind and keep getting better. There is always something that he can be working on. Okay, so Coach Rand Holdren, I'll tell you this, he sure can coach the heck out of quarterbacks. He gets some really good ones and gets a lot out of them. So this appears to be the best guy he's had in a few years, and we know how good McNulty was last year. I know it was a blowout, but you saw the poise in him. You saw just the steadiness in him and the ability to make big plays. Rio just took those things away from him last year, I should say. So again, we're going to see going into this game, in my opinion, the Rio running game hasn't taken off yet. They played 2 very physical, tough teams up front, especially Sure, who had a great game plan going in. Rio really needs to find some consistency in the run game, and that's not to say that they can't find success in the passing game. I think Yannick Diaz, if you give him time and somebody sneaks out of the backfield or deep downfield, he'll make you pay. Elias Har, we've seen him as a deep threat. We've seen Christian Lee kind of with short receptions here and there. Don't forget about Tyler Dang and Kalojiro Chico. So look for big games from those guys this week. And again, in the running game, I think now that there's a little more continuity in the offensive line with some guys who maybe got their first starts under their belt, I think we're going to see some Rio running game success. Now, it's not to say that Maranatha won't load the box, maybe have some game plans of their own. They got 2 weeks of film now with teams that played us pretty well in the run game. So make no mistake about it. If Rio wants to win this game, they got to stay balanced. They got to be able to hit some passes, play action, deep threats, whatever it is. But we got to see some consistency in the run game, kind of like we saw at the end of the game last week. with the last two drives where they really put together some good, consistent running attack. And it's tough when teams know you're going to run the ball, which they've known the past few years, and they know what we want to do. And, we're just not quite all the way polished and sharp in a running game like we typically are. But I'm confident in the offensive line coach and the offensive coordinator that they're gonna piece it together and get our guys right and get our guys ready. So if Rio wants to win this game, the best way to play defense against a spread quarterback who wants to sling it every play, if you got to hold on to the ball, man. Have some long, nice scoring drive, hold the ball 5-6 minutes even. But if you do break one, that's fine too. We take those all the time, right? So the Cares got to be prepared for, again, a physical. You got to take it to Maranatha. You got to go at them physically. You need to. They know you want to run it. They know you're going to want to blitz. They know you're going to want to do all these things. But it's how you execute and who wants it more. All those good things. So I think we're up for a great football game here on Thursday that I am just really, really excited about. So a huge congratulations, I want to say, to Nathaniel Shine and Elijah Gavia, those two linemen I mentioned earlier, both receiving offers from Azusa Pacific University next season. We posted all that stuff on social media if you missed that news, but a huge, definitely well-deserved offers there. I don't think that will be their final offers, but Azusa Pacific is starting back up their football program next year. After a hiatus of a couple years. And I can promise you this, if both those guys are playing at APU, although I'm sure, they'll have some other offers too, man, I would not mind watching those guys on Saturdays just down the road from where I sit here. So congrats to those guys. And I'm sure, big things ahead for everyone else out there who was aspiring to play college football. Ryan McCullough had a heck of a night this last Saturday. Typically, I kind of forget on the post-game shows. I want to do like a recap of our freshman team, our volleyball team, our junior high team, and all this and that on the weekends. And sometimes I forget. It's kind of old news now at this point, but those things will be infiltrated into the shows here one way or another here in the future. So keep an eye out for volleyball scores and let's see here, junior high football, freshman football, as well as some content about our cares in college. Alex Mustaine from a few years ago, he did a couple, maybe it was just one, but he had, he's kicking and playing some tight end at Citrus College now. So as I mentioned, Alex Vasquez out at Mercyhurst College. So some cares doing some great things on the gridiron and other sports as well on Saturdays here, but we'll piece it all together, the scheduling and everything. So anyway, hope the NFHS was better streaming last week. Some kinks still to get out, but I promise you, Robert Bray and company are working on it. This next week on Thursday, the Cares broadcast team does have the broadcast to them and some new equipment. I know that might scare some people, but some new stuff we might be adding to the broadcast this week. So if you're one of those people watching from far away, definitely tune in to that. I do want to thank everyone who reached out to me about the Charge to Keep hat promotion and contribution opportunity that I have going on, and be sure to check out a video I posted on that if you have any more questions, or you know where to reach me. Charge to Keep pod@gmail.com is the best way to reach me, so I can keep everything organized. But again, the podcast continues here now that we are in September, as we're rolling right along, man. Week to week, here we go. It is what it is. Rio Hondo, week 2 at Maranatha. Battle of two undefeateds, and as what Fred Robledo often says, someone's must go. We shall see if it will be the Cares or the Minutemen who falls to 2-1 and who in fact moves on to 3-0. It's going to be very, very exciting. I really hope to see you all there. It's only a few days from right now as we're listening, man. Football in the middle of the week. Love it. Absolutely. It's going to be a blast. All right. As we wrap up the show, I'm going to try to get to my explanation point here. My brief, I don't know how brief it'll be. I'm going to try to keep it quick. Just something that happened in our game last week in regard to the rules, officiating, kind of some craziness at the end of the game. There was a lot of things going on during the game, which I don't want to, dwell on too much. But at the end of the game, very unique situation. I don't know how many of the fans watching understood what went on, but the Cares were driving, tie game, about 1:10 left. About somewhere around the 5-yard line, maybe inside the 5-yard line, trying to go in for the go-ahead score. Rio ran the ball, landed in bounds. I don't know. We'll call it the 2-yard line. Maybe it was the 1, whatever it was. Clock continued to run. Quartz Hill requested a timeout. They were granted a timeout. The scoreboard said there was one remaining, I believe, or anyway, they thought they had one remaining. They did not have one timeout remaining. They had actually used all 3 timeouts. And props to Harry Joe here for on the stats on the sideline. He said, Mark, they used all their timeouts, and he listed the times in which they had called the timeouts. And just a little, again, inside information here. During timeouts, again, not all officiating units or crews are great at this stuff. Some are better than others, especially when there's newer officials. They're learning, right? But during a timeout, all 5 guys, they should take out their card, their piece of paper. You keep your track of timeouts for each team. I always wrote down the quarter, the time on the clock, and the down distance and yard line, so that if for some reason the chains moved or we ran a play and everyone's like, wait, what down is it? Oh, wait, what happened? Oh, wait, let's go back to our card. It's just a little game saver, crew saver situation that it doesn't hurt to write down more information. So the crew should each do that. And as you get down in a key moment in the fourth quarter there where timeouts kind of matter, right? They're trying to stop the clock. We're trying to score as late as possible. It's really, really relevant information. So where I think the crew didn't do a good job of was necessarily communicating that to both sides. I think in that situation, our coaching staff, and I've talked to Coach Carson about this. This isn't, but I think we can be really proactive there, especially when you got a newer official on your sideline. That's where you got to be overly communicate. Hey, so-and-so, they got one timeout left, right? Okay, yes. After it's called, that one's called. Hey, they're out of timeouts, right? Just more information in that situation is a good thing, right? You can't, and the officials, again, they should have been more proactive in telling each team no. Now, typically, you should know how many timeouts a team has, and if they're calling timeout, you shouldn't grant it. You're out of timeouts. You don't have a timeout. They granted the timeout. Now, they tried to fix it, and again, I want to always shout this to the mountaintops. This is never me. You guys know this. I'm the officiating lawyer, right? I'm never here bashing the officials or what. I'm trying to educate and give a weird situation, describe a weird situation. So I've been in some of these where you just want to pull your hair out. You want to jump off a building because you're just angry. If this had happened on a crew I was on, where we kind of looked that disorganized or something, we would probably have some fist fights in the locker room after the game. I'm just telling you, I've worked with guys and I had high standards that way as well. Not to say other people wouldn't, but we've had some big time shouting matches in locker rooms where we weren't happy with each other based off of a performance or really looking very not credible in situations. So that's kind of, again, behind the scenes stuff, as I was a very, very intense guy where I was always amped up and kind of, wait, how many times, that was just me. That's not everyone else. But yeah, we had some big time arguments and occasional almost fist fights in locker rooms at times. Anyway, you gotta over communicate in that situation when you think you've said enough. Anyway, they granted the timeout. They should never have granted the timeout. They did. They sent the team to the sidelines. Harry Joe, says, no, they don't have those timeouts. The crew talks. They realize it. Wait, come back. All right, come back. There's no timeout. Our coaches were upset because they're like, you gave him a timeout. You gave him a timeout. The most important thing in that situation was that the clock needed to run, right? Which they did. They said, bring him out. That was our mistake. No timeout. Our coaches are screaming, trying to sort it out. Wait a minute. They called timeout. Okay. I asked around. And these are kind of again, it's a very unique situation. Theoretically, with the extra timeout, it's a delay a game penalty, which wouldn't have helped us how much in the situation because we're only going to be like half the distance, like a 1 yard penalty, right? And something that got caught up when a referee told me this, he said, all delay a game penalties, the clock stays dead. And I go, well, that's a problem because if you enforce a delay a game penalty for an excessive timeout and you're telling me the clock stays dead, then why would you not just always call an excessive timeout if you really, really need to save time? And so we got talking about it and he said, you know what? I think you're right. I think the referee has jurisdiction there if he feels it was intentional that you could in fact wind. Well, when there's an administrative stoppage, as I've told you guys before, there's 25-second play clock. The referees on Friday, they brought everyone back. And they said, we're going to wind the clock. And our guys were like, wait a minute, but they called timeout. They wound the clock, which is good. We're like, okay. I was trying to tell Coach Carson, hey, you got 25 seconds, 25 seconds. It's going to be just almost like the timeout never happened. Don't worry. Clock's going to run. The clock's going to run. Started running. The funny part is sometimes the scoreboards at Care Park, sometimes they freeze and it's buffering. The clock is still running, but it'll stop visually on like 107, and then it'll keep running. And then the next time you see it, it'll be at 102, 101. Well, coach was upset because he saw the clock stopped. He's like, why isn't the clock running? After the official wound it, which he did properly. Someone else on the crew probably should have shut it down and been like, hey, we need the clock to run on the whistle. Let's calm everything down right now. If it was me in that situation, I would have gone to Mark and said, we called the timeout. They don't have one. Okay. So we're going to erase that. We are going to start the clock like it should have continued to run. You're going to have 25 seconds. I'm going to start it on my whistle, and we're going to make sure the clock is running on visually and everything else. We kind of hurried in that situation. We were like, run the play. And it was like, guys, we have 25 seconds. Chill. It just goes to show you how chaotic it can be on the field for coaches, players, officials, everybody, clock operators, announcers, TV people. Things happen so wild, and maybe you guys didn't see all that happening at the time. There's a lot going on, and that's why sometimes it's like there's times to over communicate. There's times where you just need one voice talking, right? It's a good learning experience. And so, yes, the officials incorrectly granted a fourth timeout to Quartz Hill. That's a big no-no. I'm not going to excuse that. I will say there was at least 2 very new guys on that crew, and I'm not here to bash anyone at all. I was a new guy once. The mistakes I made on the field, you wouldn't believe. So when you put all that together, it's just a recipe for craziness. And hopefully, when you think you've never seen something, just watch another football game, especially at the high school level. Crazy things happen, and hey, that's just the way the ball bounces sometimes. So I don't know if you learned anything in that explanation point, but just trying to sort out the craziness there in that scenario, because there's a lot more going on than you would think was happening. And how do you make something right? Sometimes mess ups aren't always correctable in the rule book. You got to figure it out yourself. And I thought all in all, the officials realized their mistake, tried to make it right. Running the clock, the clock kind of paused, and then our guys are running to the line real quick. Bottom line is Rio scored, ended up working out, thankfully. And yeah, a little bit of craziness there with the excessive timeouts and possible delay of games. The clock would have stayed stopped, and a lot going on. So I don't know if that made any sense to you guys, but yeah, that's what happened Friday night. And again, I think it's a lot more relevant in the explanation point versus some random rule for me, which I will occasionally do as well, but just something that, when you see something in the game, it's kind of like, well, I don't know how I'm going to explain this one, but you try to anyway. So it's fun for me being out of officiating now for a few years to kind of rethink this and like, wow, what would we do in this situation? Anyway, that's it for me here on the Charge to Keep podcast. Let's go, man. Week 2 is here. The third game of the year for each of these squads. Can't wait for it. Props to the Pearl Prep band that was out there on Friday night. The cheerleaders, of course, for Rio doing a great job as always. Under Darcy Bollinger, Georgette Moore, they're doing their thing, and they got some close-ups of the cheer squad there. The girls are doing awesome stuff. We'll try to get some more content from them, and maybe a little bit more from the fans in the stands and all the behind-the-scenes stuff that you guys like seeing there on the Charge to Keep social media platform. So give us a follow there. You want to contact me, you know where to reach me, chargetokeippod@gmail.com. But until then, guys, I'll see you on Thursday night. Special early edition of Rio Hondo Prep football this week. And as always, in closing, with Rio Hondo Prep football, your friendly reminder, always be humble in victory and gracious in defeat, because we always have a charge to keep.
A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify, a never-dying soul to save, and fit it for the sky. Arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live, and, O thy servant, Lord, prepare a strict account to give.